Okay, so I've just opened this file, which this is going to be a really quick one. So this building, if you don't know it, is sandstone, and I had assigned sandstone material with a texture file that is, pretty good looking sandstone, but it's not coming up because I've moved this file, let's say, from one computer to another, and so I can't find that image file. So I'm just going to show you how easy it is to give it a path for all of your textures. So firstly, you need to realise that you should store all of your textures for all of your projects really, but particularly if you've got a big project with a lot of textures, store all of the textures in one folder. So I've made a folder here called textures, and you can see there I've just got a few different image files which I would use for my materials. So this is a sandstone that I've downloaded, it's not just from the regular library. And I'll just make it a bit bigger so you can see it. And I have assigned that previously to this material in this file. So maybe we'll just quickly look at that in case you aren't sure what that means. So when we look at that material, you'll see on the Appearance tab, it's got the name Sandstone Texture, which is the name of that file, but it's got the warning symbol there to tell us that you can't find that file. And I could manually click on that file name and then point it to the folder where I've stored that file, but instead of doing that, I have to do that for each texture. I can go to the File menu and then Options. And that's an easy one to miss, but there's a lot of important settings there. So down to the bottom right, you've got Exit Revit, and then next to that you've got Options. And then over on the left, in that dialog box, you'll see the rendering option, and then you can click on the green plus to add a path. And that's it. So once you've gotten there, you can see this blank panel, I suppose, comes up, and you can click there to browse and choose the folder where you've stored all of your textures. So I've made it in here, and I've called it Textures. You won't see the files in the folder. This is just to select the folder, so I click Open, OK. And sometimes you've got to give it a minute to wake up. Worst case, you might need to just close the file and open it again. And there we are. So there's my sandstone texture come back, and there was another one inside that was missing as well, but we don't need to look at that. So, so there we are, that easy. And yeah, so it's important to realise that's a common property of most 3D programs. Programs that render with materials that use textures, and that's a very standard approach. They'll generally give you an option for pointing the program to the folder where those textures are stored, and 3ds Max is the same in this way. So there's no packaging option or anything like that in Revit. You do have one that's like that in 3ds Max if you use the packaging in InDesign. But because with Revit there really aren't very many resource files other than the textures, they probably don't need a packaging option. 3ds Max you have lots of other resources and it makes sense to package your files, but again, Revit, don't really have to. So as long as you know about that thing under Options, that's all you need to know to get your textures working. It's simple.